Hi, I'm Andrew DiPaola. I'm one of the attorneys here at New World Title and Escrow. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about the changes to TOPA, the Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act. After a lot of effort, time spent by a number of realtors in the DC area, passed into law in July, July 3rd of 2018, was a new law kind of amending TOPA. Basically, it's a carve-out, it's exception. So it's for single family properties. So if you own and you rent a single family home, perhaps one condominium unit, and you go to sell it, there's now an exception. So TOPA will not apply to the sale of these single family dwellings. So it's great news. Again, it's, if you've ever dealt with TOPA, you know it's a kind of a labor, time-intensive process, and also, is allowing tenants the ability to assign their rights and essentially make money. Not only make money, but make it difficult on the seller of the property. So there's a great new exception now for these single family properties. So there is now a new form as well. So we have a new law, it means new forms. So the forms are available online. It's DC, the DC website, DC Office of Housing and Community Development. All those forms are on there. You want to make sure if you have one of these situations, you're using these forms. So the first form I wanted to mention, I'll just show you, and again, go to the website for it, but it's Form 1, and this is what we call the essentially the notice of intent to sell, or you may hear notice, solicitation notice. Basically, this is for anyone who owns a single family property, again, a single family home, one condo unit, and they're going to sell it. They have to provide this to any of the tenants in that property. It's a much simpler form. It's pretty easy, but what it does is it lets the tenant know that the property is going to be sold. And the time frame for this is what they say by law, it's 3 days from either solicitation or receiving an offer. So kind of the recommendation would be if you are you're listing the property, you sign a listing agreement with the client, that's the time the client would send this to their tenant within 3 days of that. Or perhaps there's someone selling the property on their own, they're going to put a sign in the yard within 3 days of putting that sign in the yard. Again, that's kind of they have that intention now to sell the property, so they want to supply this form to the tenants. There is, within this carve-out to TOPA, there's an exception. It's a little bit nuanced. I don't want to get into it too much, but know that if you have a disabled or an elderly tenant, they still may have that same right to purchase the property, and there's that right of first refusal. So it's the notice of the opportunity to sell and the right of first refusal. So again, disabled and elderly tenants, if they can show that they're disabled and or elderly, they still have that option. At the same time, remember we're talking just about a single family dwelling. So if we're in multifamily, you have a property that's 2 to 4 family or 5 or more, all the same TOPA regulations are going to apply. Again, this is just for single units. So it's supposed to again make it easier on someone who has one rental property and they're trying to sell it, and they want the process to go easier. So it's great that DC made the changes. There is also this great flow chart. This was put out by the Office of Tenant Advocate. So I encourage you to go online, and if you'd like to see this, we can also send it to you. Just reach out to us. This will tell you the process basically for single unit property. So you can follow along this flow chart and figure out exactly what you have to do. If you have one of those unique situations with a tenant that's disabled or elderly, and then the process that tenant would need to abide by in order to still have the TOPA rights. The one thing though, even if the disabled or elderly tenant exists and they're going to get TOPA rights, the nice thing, the new law does not allow them to basically profit off of those rights. So they can't sell the rights for profit like they could before. So that's another good change. So please, if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out to us here at New World Title. Again, I'm Andrew DiPaola. You can check us out also. Our Instagram page is at New World Title and Escrow. You can also find us on Facebook. Call us, email us. We'd be happy to share the forms with you, show them where they're available, or answer any questions that you have regarding the new TOPA law. But I think that, again, it's a good change. It's going to make things a little bit easier than they were before. Thank you.